They came seeking wonder, solitude, a breath of clean mountain air. But some never came back. Yosemite National Park, with its towering cliffs and timeless forests, draws millions each year. But not all who enter its majestic wilderness find their way out. People vanish here, not just once or twice, but with a strange frequency that defies logic. Experienced hikers, families, even search and rescue professionals, gone, vanished into the mist. No footprints, no signs of struggle, no remains, just silence. Authorities chalk it up to nature, accidents, wildlife, poor planning. But that explanation is wearing thin. Why do so many disappear near the same remote areas? Why are some official reports sealed, redacted, or never filed at all? Something isn't right. Is Yosemite hiding something, or someone? Strange lights, whispered voices, sudden fog. Locals speak of areas you shouldn't enter after dark, places where compasses spin and time seems to bend. This isn't just a story of missing people, it's a warning and a question. What force, natural or unnatural, is responsible for these disappearances? Tonight, we walk into the woods and into the mystery. Subscribe if you dare, because this case may haunt you long after the video ends. Part 1. Yosemite, Paradise, or a Gateway to Another World? Yosemite National Park, a name that evokes beauty, wonder, and timeless majesty. But beneath its postcard-perfect surface, there lies something deeper, something darker. Spanning over 750,000 acres in California's Sierra Nevada mountains, Yosemite is vast, overwhelmingly so. Towering granite cliffs reach toward the heavens. Waterfalls thunder into shadowy gorges. Dense forests stretch for miles, hiding secrets older than any trail map can reveal. It's a place that humbles the human spirit, and it should. Because Yosemite is no tame tourist retreat. It's wild, untamed, and at times, merciless. There are places within the park that feel different. Areas where time seems to slow, where sound fades, where one can feel watched, even when utterly alone. The terrain itself's to shift. Thick underbrush, labyrinthine caves, and narrow ledges carved by time and tectonics. Getting lost is all too easy, and sometimes not accidental. Long before the park was ever marked by campgrounds and ranger stations, this land was home to the Awanichi, a Native American people with deep spiritual ties to the region. But even they kept their distance from certain parts of Yosemite. They believed these places were sacred or cursed. According to tribal legends, spirits roamed the high cliffs and deep valleys, entities not to be disturbed. There were tales of beings that could lure people into the woods with voices of loved ones. Others spoke of strange lights, unnatural silences, or entire hunting parties disappearing without a trace. For the Awanichi, the land was alive, and some corners of it were not meant for man. One such place was the shadow of Half Dome, where elders warned that stepping too close to the base could invite misfortune. Another was the deep gorge near Bridal Veil Fall, believed to be a portal, a passage to a different realm. Even today, hikers report bizarre experiences in those very areas. Cameras that refuse to function, GPS devices that spin aimlessly, and most chilling of all, the feeling of being followed by something unseen. So the question remains, is Yosemite just a breathtaking wilderness? Or is it something more? A place where the veil between our world and another grows thin? And if that's true, what exactly is waiting on the other side? Part 2. The unsolved disappearances that shook Yosemite to its core. Yosemite is no stranger to strange disappearances, but some cases are so chilling, so inexplicable, they echo like ghost stories across generations. It began with a young girl. Stacy Ann Aris, just 14 years old, was on a guided horseback trip with her father and several others in 1981. They stopped at Sunrise High Sierra Camp. Stacy, curious and bright, told the group she'd take a short walk to snap photos. Just a few minutes, just to a nearby ridge. A man from the group watched her from afar, then blinked, and she was gone. Search teams were dispatched within hours. Helicopters, dogs, rangers, but no scent, no footprints, no scraps of clothing. The terrain was open, not dense enough to conceal a body, yet Stacy was never found. She had simply vanished, almost within eyesight of others. How does that happen? Then came Timothy Barnes in 1988, a well-trained backpacker and wilderness survival expert. He knew the park's trails better than most rangers. One sunny afternoon, he left camp for a short solo hike along a well-marked route. He never returned. His gear remained untouched. The weather was clear. There were no signs of animal attacks, accidents, or struggle. It was like the earth had opened up and swallowed him whole, and then sealed itself shut. But perhaps the most haunting case came in the 1990s, when an entire hiking group disappeared. 3 experienced hikers set out on a multi-day trip, carrying radios and GPS gear. Communication was constant, until suddenly, everything stopped. Mid-conversation, their signal vanished. Rescue teams traced their last known location, a flat trail near Mirror Lake. They found nothing, not even a broken branch. Days later, a single hiking boot was found miles off course, clean, dry, undamaged. That was all Yosemite gave back. No one knows what happened. How could 3 healthy adults with modern equipment and experience disappear so completely? Even in the deadliest places on Earth, nature usually leaves a trace, but not here. In Yosemite, it seems, people don't just get lost, they get erased. Part 3. Strange clues and the deafening silence of authority. The forest whispers secrets, and sometimes it leaves behind clues that only deepen the mystery. Over the years, search teams in Yosemite have stumbled upon bizarre and disturbing remnants. In cases where someone was presumed dead or lost, their belongings were found in eerie, almost ritualistic arrangements. Shoes removed and placed neatly side by side. Clothing folded carefully and set on rocks, untouched by animals or the elements. What kind of person takes off their clothes in the cold wilderness, in a place where hypothermia is a killer? Even more unsettling are the footprints. In several cases, rescuers found barefoot prints, sometimes of both adults and children, leading straight toward cliffs or deep ravines, and then nothing. No prints leading away, no signs of a fall. It's as if those who walked that path simply disappeared mid-step. No blood, no dragging marks, no struggle, just vanishing. And yet so many of these reports are missing from public records. Families have tried to file Freedom of Information Act requests. Some are denied. Others come back incomplete, redacted, or simply say, no documents available. How can there be no reports when there were full-scale search efforts with helicopters, dogs, and rangers? Some suspect a cover-up. There are growing whispers that park rangers know more than they say, that certain areas are known to be dangerous in ways that go beyond wildlife or weather, and that these places are quietly avoided, unspoken zones that even rangers won't patrol alone. Why else are some incidents never mentioned in official Yosemite missing persons logs? Others believe it's about tourism. Yosemite draws over 4 million visitors a year. A few high-profile disappearances could be written off as unfortunate accidents, but if the truth suggests something darker, more unpredictable, more unexplainable, that would be bad for business. And so, silence becomes policy. The forest stays quiet, the files stay closed, and the families, they wait for answers that never come. Part 4. Bone-chilling theories that refuse to die. When logic fails, imagination steps in, and sometimes what it brings is far more terrifying than reality. Many locals and hikers speak in hushed voices about strange creatures seen deep in the forest. Towering shadowy figures, taller than any man, lurking behind trees. Glowing eyes watching from the darkness. Some report unearthly howls at night, guttural and deep, unlike any known animal. Could it be Bigfoot, the elusive giant said to roam North American wilderness? Or something darker, a Wendigo, a cursed spirit from native folklore that feeds on fear and flesh? Then come the stories of shadow people, featureless black silhouettes moving through the trees, vanishing when approached. They don't leave footprints, they don't make noise, but many who have seen them feel a presence, cold and ancient, watching, waiting. But what if the answer isn't a creature but a tear in reality itself? Some theorists believe Yosemite sits on a thin spot between dimensions, where time and space break down. Disappearances, they claim, happen when a person unknowingly walks into a time distortion or a portal, slipping into another realm. This would explain why no remains are ever found. Some even describe feeling disoriented, losing track of time, or ending up miles from where they started, with no memory of how they got there. And then there's the dark hand of human interference. Military activity once surrounded parts of Yosemite. Old rumors speak of radar experiments, underground facilities, and biological testing in the remote wilderness. Could it be that some missing persons wandered into the wrong area and were never allowed to leave? Or worse, became part of secret experiments, lost forever in government files marked classified? Skeptics dismiss these ideas as fantasy. But how do you explain the missing hikers, the empty camps, the silent radios, the unopened food supplies, and the absence of tracks? Something is happening in Yosemite, something no one wants to name. Part 5. The eerie patterns that don't lie. There are patterns that refuse to be ignored, and in Yosemite, they're all too clear. Most disappearances happen near water, streams, rivers, and waterfalls. Sometimes near sharp cliffs or at the base of towering rock formations. And often, these places seem to lie at the intersection of three distinct types of terrain: water, rocks, and forest. This strange convergence of elements makes one wonder, is there something about these spots that draws people in? Or is it that something unnatural is luring them, guiding them into the heart of the unknown? One haunting detail that stands out is the unusually high number of children and mountaineers who vanish in Yosemite. What makes their disappearances even more perplexing is that children often wander off only to disappear without a trace, while experienced climbers with years of training and knowledge of the park's terrain also vanish without any logical explanation. These are the kinds of people who know how to survive in the wild, yet their fate remains a mystery. Even more chilling are the instances where the radio signals, GPS, and cell phones of the missing people go completely dead in specific areas. Signal drops happen repeatedly in the same locations, almost like an invisible force is systematically shutting down all means of communication. It's as if something is actively preventing people from reaching out for help or leaving no trace behind. Could there be something in the land, a natural or unnatural force, that makes these locations a focal point for disappearances? Or is the park hiding secrets that go beyond anything the public is prepared to know? Yosemite's tragic pattern of missing persons continues to grow, and with each lost soul, the questions only multiply. Part 6. Accounts from the survivors. Some of those who disappeared in Yosemite but later reappeared tell chilling stories of what they experienced during their time missing. One of the most disturbing recurring themes in their accounts is the sense of losing time. These survivors speak of being lost for hours, sometimes even days, yet they have no clear recollection of what transpired during that time. When they return, it's as though they were never truly gone, but the memories of their absence are foggy and fragmented, like something has been erased. They report feeling a presence, an eerie sensation that someone or something was watching them. A voice, a shadow, or simply a feeling that they were not alone, lurking just out of sight. For these survivors, the experience is more than just physical. It's psychological, leaving them with a deep sense of unease that lingers long after they return. One particularly strange account comes from a man who vanished for several hours, only to reappear at the exact spot he had been before. His clothes were strangely neatly arranged, as if they had been carefully placed, and he couldn't remember the events of his disappearance. The only thing he could recall was the feeling of being followed, as if something or someone was tracking his every move. Another survivor describes an experience that chills the bones. He remembers seeing lights moving across the sky, not like any aircraft he had ever seen. The lights seemed to hover and dart erratically. This phenomenon, coupled with the feeling of being watched, left him shaken and unable to explain what had happened to him. For these individuals, the experience of missing time and the eerie feelings of being watched are just part of the mystery that surrounds the disappearances in Yosemite. But what happens in those lost hours? And who, or what, are they trying to avoid? These survivors, forever changed by their encounters, will likely never be the same again. Part 7. Conclusion. In conclusion, Yosemite is not just a national park. It is one of the most mysterious places on Earth. The disappearances that have occurred there are far from ordinary accidents. They suggest the presence of forces or phenomena that remain beyond our comprehension. As we continue to seek answers, one can't help but feel a deep sense of unease about what truly lies within those vast wildernesses. What makes Yosemite even more unsettling is that many of these disappearances remain unexplained, and the signs left behind offer no clear answers. Some believe that the mountains and forests hold secrets that have yet to be uncovered. These events, whether linked to unnatural forces, strange creatures, or otherworldly dimensions, leave us with more questions than answers. And as we end this journey into the heart of Yosemite, let's ask the question that haunts the minds of many. If you were to go camping in Yosemite tomorrow and never return, who would be there to tell your story? This chilling thought lingers in the air, leaving a heavy sense of uncertainty about what might be lurking in the shadows of this ancient wilderness. If you felt the chill run down your spine as we've explored this mystery, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. More terrifying mysteries await in the coming episodes, and some may be even darker than this one.